everybody. So we are live from in front of the White House. My name is Valerie. I'm the Clean Energy Campaigner with the Center for Biological Diversity, and we're really excited to be here. We're delivering 1.1 million signatures to President Obama to end all new fossil fuel leasing on public lands and waters. So we're about to hear from some amazing speakers from frontline communities from all over the country who have been fighting this fight on the ground and are here at the doorstep of the decision maker to call President Obama to end federal fossil fuel leasing on our public lands and waters and keep it in the ground. Thanks a lot. Hope you tune in.
Sorry. Why are you here today?
We're here to tell the president no new leases, no new oil infrastructure of any kind. It's time to get off this archaic fossil fuels and turn to renewable energy and
Okay, everyone, thank you for coming. We're going to get started right now. And
Thank you.
Please get everyone's attention because we're going to start with a prayer from Louise Benally.
Greetings and thank you, relatives, for coming in support of our action here today. I'm Danette from the Southwest Navajo, and we're here to say keep it in the ground. I'm going to say the prayer in my own language, so bear with me. Yote kas ein dini bi de hatat jede kon de kon bits adon gemandini bit nahot is de ben nachje kon kiten nan ho kat den en kit nini stot a hot an bit nahot ik ko en khaba hot with not the journey so de even yene da so de nik dat no I do de geden eta no sini kon den ki kon no son don hizat had do tsins kon hojoro de so dishne Wajona hastling, wajona hastling, wajona hastling, wajona hastling.
Thank you very much, Louise. So the Nobel Prize-winning scientists at the IPCC have been telling the world for years that we need to keep the vast majority of coal, oil, and gas in the ground. And thus far, the world has not been listening. In the United States, 50% of all the potential carbon pollution that could potentially destroy the world's climate is under public lands and public waters. And this is the fossil fuels that we need to keep it in the ground, and we need for the United States to set an example for the world. The President of the United States has the sole authority, without needing to consult with Congress, he has the authority to continue business as usual and keep leasing these lands and waters to dirty energy companies, or he has the ability to stop that leasing today and end new leasing on public lands and to set an example for the world of keeping our fossil fuels in the ground. A year ago, we were here and we asked the president to do so. Since that time, we've been happy to celebrate a 3-year moratorium on new leasing of most coal on our public lands and waters. But when it comes to oil and gas, it's business as usual. Tens of millions of acres continue to be leased in the Gulf of Mexico. This president has leased more than 10 million acres of our public lands for oil and gas fracking and drilling on our public lands across the United States. We have people now that have gathered from around, literally all around the United States, that have come here that want to tell their personal stories of how climate change, of how fossil fuel extraction is affecting them, and how it is and why it is that the president needs to act today to keep fossil fuels in the ground. We are really proud to have a strong group of people, many of them indigenous, that will be leading our, that have led our movement and will continue to lead with today's event. The first of which I would like to call up a pair of people actually. Faith Gemmel, she's the executive director of Red Oil, which is resisting environmental destruction on Indian lands, and May Hank, who is a member in Alaska of the native village of Point Hope. Faith and May.
Good morning. Egwadat shajakinhi shat kwasi. I'm just dihna. Dinan and just I'm just dihna. I'm Ned Igwichin, Pit River and Winku, and I'm from a community called Bushrike O, Arctic Village, Alaska. Today I'm speaking on behalf of resisting environmental destruction on indigenous lands. With continued fossil fuel and mineral development and exploitation, the only lasting result is violations of our human rights, lands and territories, health and well-being of our people, at this time when we are in climate crisis. The incessant demand for the finite supply of fossil fuels must end if we as humanity will be able to survive. Alaska is ground zero for U.S. energy policy and climate impacts. We see the climate impacts. In Alaska, we see alarming weather patterns, shifts in the weather that happen all the time, severe storms, erosion of coastal areas, more precipitation, thawing permafrost. The ground is literally melting beneath our feet. Melting sea ice, receding glaciers, spruce bark beetle infestation increased, migratory and habitat disruption of key subsistence resources, disruption of all natural cycles of life. This is very, very important that it's not, we see this on a daily basis because we live from the land. We still hunt, we still fish, we still gather to survive. So any changes to our traditional territories, we notice right away. And it's happening in Alaska. Severe changes happening so fast. We're like the canary in the mine. And we're telling people it's time to wake up and realize that things have to change if we're all going to survive. I was in Paris at the climate talks, and a woman from the Maldives stated what I had never heard anyone say. She said, we are living in a time of climate genocide, where human lives are actually being lost. And this has to change. Many indigenous territories within Alaska are currently under threat, such as the National Petroleum Reserve of Alaska, the Yukon Flats Wildlife Refuge, and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The Arctic National Wildlife Refuge is script which in people. We call it Ijik Wutangwantai Godlit. That means the sacred place where life begins. That place is the birthplace for the porcupine caribou herd. It's sacred to the Butchin. We don't even go there. So how could we stand by and allow oil companies to drill for oil in the calving grounds, in the birthplace? So for us, it's about our survival, and the caribou provides us with everything we need to survive: physical, cultural, spiritual, social, economic. So we stand up today and support the call for keep it in the ground. These profit-driven economies are not sustainable. They threaten the very existence of our future generations. Profit at all costs and the business as usual mentality of the U.S. is our greatest challenge. We need to start standing up and challenging these insane policies that continue to threaten and target our traditional homelands and public lands throughout the U.S. So we call on the President to keep it in the ground. As far as the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, we call on President Obama to put in the most stringent protective measures possible before he leaves office. That's what the Gwich'in Nation is calling for. We want further protection for the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. We just need to continue to stand up and stand down these corporations, shut it down at the valve. No more pipelines. No more dirty energy. Keep fossil fuels in the ground.
Sorry,
we
sir.
can have clean energy that's sustainable and respectful of and upholds indigenous rights and all people's survival. With that, I want to introduce May.
I greet you, and my Inupiaq name is Atua. I'm from Tikia, Point Hope, Alaska, and it's too hot for me here. Having a hard time with this 60-degree weather. I have always been in the opposing side of any offshore activity, whether drilling or mining. And I have stand as a guardian. I have stood as a guardian for our food that we eat. Any type of offshore drilling would impact all our seasonal food that we collect from the ocean. Whether it be fish, or whether it be bullhead whale, or beluga, or bearded seals, we still eat our traditional food. We still dress with our traditional attire. And I have children, I have grandchildren, siblings, their nieces and nephews, and they all support what I do for them. They know I'm doing the right thing, because without our native food, what will we be? I am Inupiaq from the Arctic slope, and this is our land, our ocean. They have no business being in our ocean at all, because our traditional food is, the ocean is where we get the majority of our native food that we eat, and we collect it annually. And you know, whether it's by season to season, there's always, the ocean always provides for us in the Chukchi and the Arctic. And it's been a very trying time for us to have meetings one after the other with different oil industries coming in with public hearings, and it's been very difficult. We tell them over and over, for over 35 years I've been in this, we tell them over and over, stay out of our ocean. Don't annihilate our traditional food. That is our food security. They have never, ever listened, and it's been very difficult for us. Our livelihood comes from the ocean, and that is our culture. If the ocean dies, so do we. Because without our traditional food that revolves around our culture and our traditions, what will we be? I love to eat my native food, and every time I go on a trip like this, it's very difficult because I'm so hungry for my food. We eat it every day, and it's something that I never ever want to go without. I have grandchildren that loves it, and they can eat, and you know, that's one thing. Take away your hamburgers, take away my bowhead whale. Thank you.
Thanks much, Faith and May. For members of the media that are here, I just want to let you know we're probably going to run less than a half hour. We have half a dozen speakers, and then all of these folks will be available for interviews afterwards if folks are interested. I'd like to ask back up Louise Benally. We're going to move thousands of miles south from Alaska to a Keep It in the Ground organizer from the Southwest, Louise Benally.
Thank you. Again, I've come here last year calling for Keep It in the Ground. I'm happy to know that some things have been accomplished in keeping it in the ground. However, in my community of Black Mesa, where there's a large coal mining happening for the last 40 years and calling for a forced relocation of over 10,000 Navajos, which has multiplied to over 20+ thousand of my people. And this coal mine needs to cease now, because from last year to now, the production has increased. We hear that Peabody has gone bankrupt, but out in the coal fields, it has multiplied. First, they used to just transport the coal by train. Now there's trucks transporting coal, and that's new. And so that just tells us that it's an increase. So for this Obama administration, and Obama himself needs to come down there and see the injustices. We're being torn off our land, literally. Over the summer in June, the government agents came out under Department of Interior, BIA police. They took my family's cattle. Our only source of income, our source of food, was stripped away from us. They took our cattle, sold it at a public auction the very next day, and we've seen not a dime from that. And this is ongoing in the Southwest, in Big Mountain, Arizona. And also that we're denied basic human rights in this region of Big Mountain Black Mesa community because we're not moving to make way for a large coal company to keep depleting the earth, the groundwater, toxifying the air and the water, and leaving a lot of contamination behind. And this is not just coal that we're impacted by. We're also impacted by uranium development from the 1940s and 50s, and over 1,000 mines haven't been cleaned up. The EPA out of Washington, D.C. and the Navajo Nation is failing to do the cleanup. There is really no real cleanup in these destruction areas. There is no remedy for it. When the air becomes toxified, there's no remedy to fix it. When there's water toxification, there's no remedy to fix it by these agencies. No matter how much billions of dollars is put into it, will never be the same as when it was found. So for there, keeping it in the ground is the best solution. We're now also impacted by fracking. Over the summer in the Chaco Canyon area on our nation, there has been over 36 explosions of fracking units underground, contaminating the groundwater, the air, inflaming the air, killing animals and living things, including some people. And this is not right, and it's ongoing as we speak here today, and it needs to stop. All fracking needs to stop across the board. It is not fair what is happening to our world because of a few people that can't have enough, wanting more and more, and this has to stop. The greed has to stop. The greed has to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise Benally. I'd now like to ask up Autumn Harry, who is a member of the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe in Nevada.
Autumn. Autumn. Autumn Harry is from Nevada.
No Autumn Harry Nani no Kiwi popping it away. No Kiwi to cut it in no. Hello everyone, my name is Autumn Harry. I'm a member of the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe, which is located in northern Nevada, just north of Reno. And first of all, I would just like to recognize the original peoples of this land and say thank you to the ancestors for allowing us to occupy this space today. And also thank you to my sisters who spoke before me. We are all indigenous and we all come from our respected homelands, and I would just like to speak from a young indigenous woman perspective. You know, we are, after 500 years of having our land stolen and our resources taken away from us, we're still at this point in time where these fossil fuel extraction industries are still trying to come onto our lands, our indigenous lands and territories, to try to extract our resources. And our indigenous peoples and our lands are continually targeted for these industries. Within Nevada, the BLM is trying to auction off fracking leases, and it's happening in Western Shoshone territory. And as you heard from Louise in Navajo Nation, they're trying to start fracking within the Navajo Nation, and of course there's the Dakota Access Pipeline. I actually was just in Standing Rock this past weekend, and I came directly from Standing Rock straight to this urban jungle of Washington, D.C., and I can tell you that it's a very strange feeling to come from a place that is so sacred and so pure, and then you come, you know, I got off the metro and I was on the streets, and you just see people walking by completely unaware of what is happening in North Dakota. And I've been able to speak with some people just walking around town, and they don't even know what's going on. They are not informed. And so that's why we're here, is to raise that awareness and to bring awareness to these different issues that are happening. And so this is a monumental fight, not only for Standing Rock, but for all of our communities, wherever we come from. We are in a climate crisis right now, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. It will continue until we get rid of our dependency on fossil fuels. The fossil fuel industry, whether it's pipelines, whether it's fracking, whether it's mining, they all have one purpose. That's to destroy the land, pollute the waters, and endanger our communities, all for the purpose of gaining money. And so while these multinational, multi-billion-dollar corporations are desecrating and destroying our indigenous lands and territories, our people are the ones who are on the front lines, who are being arrested, being detained, because they're trying to protect and defend Mother Earth. And I don't know if you've been following what's been happening just within the past few days, but there have been arrests in North Dakota on Standing Rock. The people are on the front lines, and they are being charged, possibly charged with felony charges, because they are standing up for the land and standing up for Mother Earth. But we are strong, powerful, resilient people, and they can continue treating us like criminals. That will never discourage or deter us from defending our land and protecting those future generations. And